that's when your relationship is most vulnerable. There's really three scenarios. One partner's unresourceful, both partners are unresourceful, or the other partner's unresourceful. So in this case, yeah. Or none are unresourceful. So technically there's four scenarios.
And this is pulling numbers in just to help get a scale, get a baseline, right? So 0 to 10, where am I at? If you're at anything, I would say below a 7, your partner should be aware of it. Conscious couples, business partners, and singles committed to attracting their dream partner. Welcome to the Conscious Couples podcast, where we share our life, love story, and combined relationship expertise to help you create and consistently cultivate the most magnificent, intimate relationship possible.
Never again will you feel hopeless and alone in your intimate relationship challenges.
Having accumulated thousands of hours coaching conscious couples and individuals all over the world, as well as starting and growing a global business together, Alan and I are here to guide you in all things relationships.
Thank you again for tuning into the one place where it's not about you or me, it's about the we. Conscious couples and individuals from all over the world, welcome back to the Conscious Couples podcast. We have our mascot with us today. This is Bush Tucker Wolf, the one and only. He's not feeling well, so we're giving him some extra love. He may or may not have puked on the yoga mat twice.
Just before this.
And he may or may not have done poopies on the carpet.
Oh, yeah.
That's a possibility as well. We cannot confirm or deny. But that's neither here nor there. Welcome to episode number 72. When is your relationship at its weakest? So as always, sweetheart, well, first of all, thank you, Next Level Podcast Solutions, for all that you do. Audio, video, we appreciate you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sweetheart, what is your intention for today's episode? This was your idea.
It was my idea. And my intention for our listeners today in this episode, aside from obviously learning all about Tucker and his movements, but for this episode, I really want to help our listeners identify when in like a week-to-week example, because the concepts that we've been talking about, all of these apply on the day-to-day, but I want to kind of zoom out to the week-to-week perspective. And I want to look at the level of resourcefulness we have. So if we're feeling in like a good mood or a bad mood, or we're having higher or lower energy levels, I want to see how we can have a degree of self-awareness and help our listeners be more of a team together so that they're not damaging their relationships unintentionally when they might be in a lower mode, when they might be in a lower energy state.
So how you feel in a given moment is going to drastically affect how you treat other people, particularly your intimate partner. So
yes,
you had an example of someone who was really excited for something and their partner maybe wasn't as excited because they were in an unresourceful state. So the real main takeaway here is when you are in an unresourceful state, you need to be aware of it and aware of the implications of that. Definitely. So sweetheart, what's the story?
Yeah. So my business partner, Bianca, shout out to you, B. This one's about you and Mary. She and her partner were FaceTiming, and I learned about this the other day, and I think it was a beautiful story that I think all of our listeners could benefit from. And she was sharing with me that she was FaceTiming with her partner, Mary, and Bianca right now, for those of you who don't know, she's my business partner at Evolve Ventures, and she is truly an extraordinary human who honestly has pushed herself recently more than I've ever seen her push herself before. And having Alan as her fitness coach, helping her crunch the numbers, one of the biggest goals that she wanted to do for herself as of lately was get to 135. I believe her goal was 135 in weight, right?
133.
133.
Just to provide context, so Bianca is working out. She does a half an hour of cardio every single day. I think it's actually 45 minutes now. Yeah. She does 15 minutes warm up and an hour weight training every single day.
It's unreal.
It is unreal. I'm genuinely so unreal. Super pumped for you, Bianca. Be careful of unresourceful states.
Yeah, so exactly. So why I mentioned that is because she's in what we refer to right now as a cut. So she's cutting down her body fat so that all of her lean muscle is all in its glory. And
she's eating way less Dominoes than we are.
She's eating way less Dominoes than we are. And when you're in a cut, and and Alan can speak to this way more than I can because I love my Dominoes. But when you're in a cut, you become less resourceful. You become a lot more scarce. You become, because you're eating less calories, you're exercising more. And that's a recipe for disaster if you let it get to you, if you will.
Everything is more fearful. Everything is more uncertain. Your mind starts messing with you. Essentially, the way I describe it is, if you've ever done a cut or a really pretty hardcore diet, you essentially, every cell in your body, so your body has 50 trillion cells, every muscle cell, every fat cell, every brain cell in your body has to go with less nutrients than it needs. And that's how you burn body fat. So instead of eating food and using that food as fuel, your body goes to body fat and burns body fat as a source of fuel. And so it's just a really devastating process, quite frankly, and that's why so few people do it.
Definitely. So not everyone is necessarily going to be going through a cut. So you might be hearing the story and be like, well, that's not really, I might not be in that situation. But here's the equivalent or a similar situation where other people, you know, they experience this level of scarcity. That's really what I want to touch upon in this story with Bianca. Where if you have deadlines, if you have a ton of things on your plate, you're overwhelmed, right? You're getting anxious. It puts the body into a similar state. So Bianca FaceTiming with her partner, Mary, she's talking to me and telling me, she goes, you know, Mary was super sweet. And she goes, she's trying to celebrate and she was trying to kind of coordinate some sort of plans to celebrate me after I'm done and I achieve my goal, my cut. And I kind of just shot her down. It was late at the end of the day. We were FaceTiming and, you know, I feel kind of guilty about it because Mary, here she was trying to be so sweet and trying to be so supportive of my goals and celebrating those. And I think I realized because this cut or this goal didn't go necessarily how I wanted it to or how I initially planned it, like I didn't deem it as successful. And, you know, she had this degree of self-reflection where she realized she shot down not only Mary's idea to celebrate this cut for Bianca, which was a huge success for B, but in that reflection, Bianca also realized that there's a lot more underneath this that is starting to bubble up to the surface of levels of self-worth that she didn't realize she's having to meet, of like, why doesn't she want to celebrate something that truly she's never done before in her life, and she's reached an all-time high in terms of her ability to execute in a way she's never done before. Like, why doesn't she want to celebrate? Why is she so quick to shoot down Mary's idea? And so in reflection upon this, we're talking and she goes, you know, I think ultimately I've just been so unresourceful that maybe if I was in a better place, I would have maybe taken Mary's guidance and said, let's celebrate.
An opportunity to build a bridge and create a magic moment rather than shoot it down.
But she shot it down.
I'm sure Mary had a great idea. Maybe we're going to order pizza, you know.
Photo
it's a
shoot, something.
Yeah, something good.
Definitely.
Maybe it wasn't pizza. I don't know Mary, but...
Right. So...
Well, I don't... I was talking to Mary. I do know Mary. Mary's actually a client of mine. And if I know Mary well, it's probably something food related because when you're in a cut for so long, you just want to go get Chinese food or Domino's or something.
Some
sort of Ben & Jerry's. Either way.
Yeah.
Either way. And by the way, we are not sponsored by any of those food companies. Yeah.
No. So, you know, I was so proud of Bianca when she was sharing this with me because she was in a very vulnerable and humble spot. And when she and I were just going to kind of exit our coaching call at the time. So afterwards, she had asked me for a little bit of guidance, and she and Mary are now going to become coaching clients soon. So we're super excited about that. But she asked me, she goes, you know, like, what should I do? Because she realized that because of this unresourceful state that she was in, when Mary presented that idea, you know, the whole saying when people are, it's like, it's not the right time. It relates to this concept where Bianca wasn't in a resourceful state. She didn't realize how unresourceful she was. Some idea that Mary brought to her that was actually to build a bridge, like you said, build a connection, build a beautiful moment for them to celebrate together. Bianca tore that apart, put it in the shredder and like threw it away. But Bianca had the humility to, and this is what she did after our coaching call. She and Mary got back on FaceTime, and Bianca obviously was apologetic. She took ownership. She had the humility and courage to just be vulnerable and let Mary know, you know, I wasn't in the best state for that. And what you were trying to do was something that is really genuinely so beautiful. And I'm so grateful for that. And B said to me, which was like the moment that I like was so like, just so proud of her. She doesn't know what it feels like to be loved. Meaning when you're unresourceful, someone is still kind. Someone still wants to celebrate you. Someone still wants to show you how amazing you are. And I find that a lot of us end up not realizing when we're in our most unresourceful states, we might miss the bids for connection and bids for love that our partners are so beautifully trying to extend out to us. And when we miss those or shoot those down, it can have some really negative long-term consequences for our relationships. And so I believe that when our relationship is at its weakest is when we don't realize when we've just done that.
Absolutely. To explain a bid real quick. So a bid, for our new listeners, we've talked about this in the past, is essentially an offering of an extended hand. So I just reached out. If you're on YouTube, you know that I reached out to Emilia. She's holding my hand, so she accepted my bid. Mm-hmm. She's accepted my peace offering, my bid connection.
Here's my bread.
Yeah, and we create, and I just accepted hers. Excellent. Whereas if she had slapped my hand away like she normally does, I'm kidding. Then obviously, it would have hurt our magic moments.
Yeah.
But that's what it is when is it most unresourceful? When is it most, rather, at its weakest? When is your relationship at its weakest? Mm-hmm. It really is when both partners are unresourceful. So this is the part I wanted to bring in before we go here. Bianca was unresourceful in that moment. Fortunately, Mary was resourceful, so she didn't get triggered and overreact to Bianca being unkind.
Yeah.
Or shooting her down, or however you want to frame it. Mm-hmm. If Mary and Bianca were both in a cut, because Mary's a bodybuilder as well.
Right.
And they were both unresourceful and both stressed out at work and both stressed out about money or whatever, they might have really had a negative issue there.
Yeah.
So instead of Bianca going and reflecting, coaching with you, and then coming back and apologizing, saying, listen, I'm sorry, it might have been an actual fight.
Yeah.
And so that's really why Emilia and I brought this up, is that's when your relationship is most vulnerable. There's really three scenarios. One partner's unresourceful. Mm-hmm. Both partners are unresourceful, or the other partner is unresourceful. So in this case, or none are unresourceful. So technically there's four scenarios. Hopefully, in an ideal world, you'd always be resourceful and you'd always be a full cup and rainbows and butterflies, and we all live in Candyland.
Those are the people that don't have goals.
Yeah, those are the people. Those are the people who don't have goals
and aren't growth oriented
and are not
they're
growth
never
oriented.
Stretching.
Yeah, exactly. So at the end of the day, if you do have big goals, if you do have big dreams, if you do want to do a cut and get to your PR, personal best of 133 pounds like Bianca, working out an obnoxious amount per day, which is awesome, you're going to get stretched.
Yeah.
And when you're stretched, you're going to be unresourceful. And when you're resourceful, you are going to be unkind in moments. And that's called being human.
Yeah.
And the really important thing is that you recognize when that's happening.
Bonnie here. I just wanted to share my experience with group coaching and some of the things that I got out of it. So going into group coaching, I was not tracking any habits at all. And I had sort of jumped on board habit tracking here and there, knowing it was a good idea, but not sort of ever succeeding with it. And so now some of them have become habits. I'm happy to say I wake up, I have a glass of water without even thinking about it anymore. So now I think it's probably time to gear up and increase my water intake or change the water one a little bit, something like that. And so I highly encourage people to jump into group coaching. There's so much information that you will get out of it. I recommend bringing a notebook to all of the sessions and taking lots of notes, asking lots of questions, and rewatching the videos, because it is the video coaching part is just packed with information. I also really recommend that you check in with your accountability buddy and sort of lift each other up throughout the experience, because there's lots of momentum, it's really exciting, and then it gets hard. And so stick with it and carry on, and your life will be better for it. Okay, take care.
Emilia and I do this simple strategy. We've talked about it in the past, but we want to do it again, where it's, where are you at, love? Where are you at? 0 to 10. Let's do this live. For everyone, this is a live demonstration. Okay? Tucker, where are you at? He says, Dad, I puked twice and did poopies on the carpet. I'm not great. I'm sitting here at a 2.
Yeah.
So that's what he's at. He's
what
at a 2.
direction is he headed, you think?
What
babe?
direction?
That's the next question we ask.
Honestly, I think up, but very slowly.
I think he's honestly, like staying steady.
Steady.
And what rate you think that?
Slow.
Slow.
I already did
Definitely.
the rate. So this is what we typically do. Sweetheart, where are you at?
I'm at like a 7 out of 10.
Nice.
7.5.
I'm at like a 9.
Yeah, I see that.
Nice.
It's awesome.
I know. It is nice, right?
It's great.
I should do this more
What
often.
direction? Where are you headed?
Down fast. I'm kidding. No. No. I'm pretty steady.
Yeah.
Pretty steady.
Really?
What about you?
Okay, I'm going up slow.
Okay. This is
So what we
when
just
we
did,
demo, we go into characters. I love it.
No, but in all reality, like,
Yeah.
I'm at a 7.5, and I can tell you, I know I'm at a 7.5 out of 10. 10 is like my best on a day, right?
Full cup.
Full cup. I'm at a 7.5 because I have my baby who's sick over here. We have Tariel who
I know.
just went through surgery this morning. So, and then not only that, but there's a lot of things that are happening in my life.
Tariel is our kitten.
Tariel's our kitten who just got spayed.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of things that's going on in my life where I have a lot. It feels as though I have a ton of weight on my shoulders right now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a ton of things that I'm stretching towards, trying to help lead and guide so many other people in their lives. And I know same thing for you.
Do you have a really packed schedule today?
I do.
Okay, so
Well-
I don't. That's why I'm a 9 and you're a 7.
yeah.
Because I'm feeling the Tariel thing
Yep.
and Tucker.
And I have group
But-
coaching tonight too. And I want to
Okay.
make sure that
Yep.
everyone feels good in that.
And this is the main point I want to make for all of our listeners. When you have a partner who has huge goals,
Mhm.
huge dreams, they have a packed schedule, you have to understand there is no Candyland fairy tale land of why are you so stressed? Because I have a mountain of things to do today, and my brain is calculating how in the F am I going to do it all? Here I am, relaxed as it gets, because my next meeting is not till 3,
Oh,
which is awesome.
that's
Right.
great.
But you rarely see me in this state because normally I'm up against,
Right.
a schedule that's nearly impossible to fulfill. But that's also on purpose and by choice. That's a whole nother episode.
Right.
So, sweetheart, to end this out, round this out.
Yes. So what we just did there, and this is the tool that everyone listening to this episode can take away. Number one, this question, where am I at? You can ask yourself in your head quietly. You can ask each other in your partnership. Say on the week to week, it's
You
a
could
Monday.
apparently
you
ask your dog.
0 to 10, where are you at? Right. And this is pulling numbers in just to help get a scale, get a baseline, right? So 0 to 10, where am I at? If you're at anything, I would say below a 7, your partner should be aware of it.
And if Mary and Bianca had done this,
Yeah.
Mary would have known Bianca's at like a 2.
Right.
And Bianca would have known Bianca's at a 2.
Yes.
And she might have responded differently.
Definitely.
Right,
They
so-
could have had a dialogue. Next question is, where am I headed? This means up, down, or steady. This is the direction. So if Tucker's at, or let's say use humans, if I'm at 7.5 and I'm headed up, you know that things are going to be good. So from a relationship standpoint, there's space to be able to engage and bid.
So
and,
if I have something to bring up that is potentially stressful and I know
Yeah.
you're a 7.5 heading up,
Yep.
I will bring it up.
yeah, it's a
Versus,
great time.
oh, it's a bad time. She's at a 2. Let's relax.
Unresourceful.
And I've told you sometimes. I remember one time, I'm going to tell this story briefly. Emilia, it was a long Sunday, really long. We had worked, project, whiteboard. Love it. All great. Okay. Love our life. It's the evening. It's 9:37 p.m., something like that. 9:30. And you're in the shower and you're saying, oh, sweetheart, by the way, can you please just order the shower curtain, the new shower curtain? And,
yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember the shower curtain
Yeah,
incident?
I do.
And I was like, no, I don't want to go. Because I had just finished doing grocery shopping and on the phone.
Put away
we have
your
an app,
phone.
and I
Yep.
put away my phone, and I don't like to have the phone in the bedroom. And
Yeah. It was a little-
I just desperately needed R&R. I call it R4: rest, relaxation, rejuvenation, and
Ra-ta-ta.
no, Rat-ta-ta. I screwed this up the other day too. R&R: rest, relaxation,
Rejuvenation.
rejuvenation.
Reading.
No, that's you, love. Me, it's food
You'll
and
figure
movies.
it out.
No, I'll figure it out. Okay. Anyways, rest and relaxation.
Ramen.
On my and ramen. I love you, love. On my peak performance tracker, I have R4 on there. I should figure out what that means.
Yeah, maybe. That'd be great.
But anyways, I needed R&R desperately.
Yeah.
And instead of asking these questions, Emilia was like, "Hey, can you open your phone and order a new shower curtain?" And it's like, "Love, I don't feel
Yeah.
seen. I need a minute."
Yeah.
So,
you
anyways.
were definitely low on that 0 to 10 scale.
Yeah.
And then the last question is like, where, like at what rate? That's the last question. So 0 to 10, where are you at? Up, down, even? Where are you headed, right?
Up,
what is
down,
the direction?
Sideways, north, east,
and then
west.
what is the rate? So is it fast, slow, or steady? And this is something that even like I've asked my team on our team huddles right before. And if you get a gauge of all the numbers and what directions, you have an understanding. It's all energy. You feel it, but you might not have the words to yourself to articulate where you are in your resourcefulness. And your partner is not a mind reader. They might not be really great at picking up on your energy, because they have so many things going on. That's a beautiful communication tool that can work with your intimate partnerships. It can work with, friends and family. It can work with your team members.
Business partners.
Yes, it's so amazing. So those are the 3 questions.
Your fam bam.
I believe that they can help so many people gain a deeper sense of awareness so that when your relationship is at its weakest, kind of not to make it weaker and not to contribute to that.
So production team, please put those 3 questions in the show notes below. Anyone, you can literally copy and paste those show notes into your notes and you'll have those questions to ask your partner. Okay, so
I want to say one last thing.
Yeah, good.
The biggest reason to put the bow on this is we don't realize what negative, it's like planting seeds that will never sprout. Only like in this sense, when you're unresourceful in your relationship and you're like for example, if Mary was unresourceful and then it starts to like kind of they start nipping at each other with their communication, that breaks not only the bond that they've been building, but it starts to erode away at future stuff too. So it's like it's planting a seed that's like rotten and it grows these nasty tendrils in their relationship.
It's like weeds in the garden.
Yeah, exactly. So we don't want to plant weeds. Right,
so what Bianca did is she ended up grabbing the weeds and pulling the weeds out by apologizing and saying, listen, I'm sorry.
Exactly.
With self-awareness and self-reflection.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks.
Okay. So if you feel like there's weeds in your garden or the garden of your relationship or the Garden of Eden, I'm kidding. Come to a free, my sweetheart is laughing. Sometimes I say jokes for the listeners. Other times it's really just for you. Free relationship talks coaching. We do 1 per week with our listeners. What is relationship talks coaching? So back when I was having trouble in a different relationship before I met Emilia, I went to relationship therapy and it actually was really helpful. It was really, really helpful. And it's kind of like that, except this is coaching. What's the difference between therapy and coaching? Therapy is a lot more about the past and the present. The coaching is much more about the future. Creating a bright future together and helping you achieve your goals and dreams together. And what's really cool is a byproduct of that ends up being a magnificent relationship. So join us. The link to book will be in the show notes, and we really hope to meet you. We love to meet our listeners. Free.
We do. And in addition, while you're in the show notes, you will see another link, and that link is going to be our next Relationship Talks event. It is going to be on July 13th. It's always the second Thursday of the month. And it's going to be our 25th event. So whoop, whoop on that. It's Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this topic is going to be how to not fall out of love with your life partner.
Honeymoon life, not honeymoon phase.
Definitely not. So what we really intend to get into in this episode, which is why we want you there, go ahead and register there. It's a free event as well, is the honeymoon life. Like Alan just said, we coach couples all over the world and at different stages of their relationship. And it's really, it's one thing to be in love. It's another thing to just love your partner. We want to cultivate and help all of the people that are in that room cultivate loving their partner and still being in love. A lot of couples fall out of love and they can love their partner, but they're not in love with their partner. There's a big distinction between those two, and the trajectory of those relationships end up growing apart. And we don't want anyone that's a part of the conscious couples community, or if you're a conscious single, we don't want that delta to grow bigger. We want to try to nip it in the bud, and we want to help all of our listeners, all of our community members not fall out of love with your intimate partner.
So if you've ever been in public and you see 2 people that are wildly head over heels in love for each other, we want to help you become that couple. Because maybe in the past you were like, oh, it must be nice, or that would be amazing, or maybe that's not possible for me. Not true. Okay, not true. And we want to help you with that. Okay, anything to add before we go, love?
Nope.
All right, as always, listeners, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you. And as always, it is not about you or me. It's about the we.
Bye,
We'll talk
everyone.
to you next time.
Bye. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Conscious Couples podcast. We love connecting with the Conscious Couples community, so please make sure you follow us on Instagram. I am at Evolve with Emilia, and Alan is a Lazaros 88.
Also, if you or your partner resonated with this episode, leave us a review at the link in the show notes, and please share this with someone you love and care about.
Until next time, remember, it's not about you or me. It's about
the we.